The winds they blew across the sea, a mighty force deep inside of me. I once was blind, but now I see from the mighty winds of change. The gale force blew away my pride, took down the walls I'd built inside. The waves washed over the tears I cried, the mighty winds of change.
Hello everyone, I'm Apostle Dr. Leanne Marino, and welcome to Power for Today. Today I'm answering the question, what is the proper conduct for leaders in the church? Our text is Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 12, and I'm going to be reading in the New International Version of the Bible. You are free to follow along with any translation you feel comfortable. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must obey them and do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy loads and put them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for men to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted in the marketplaces and to have men call them rabbi. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have only one master and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth father, for you have one Father and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called teacher, for you have one teacher, the Christ. The greatest among you will be your servant, for whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." When God called me to be an apostle in January of 2004, I'd never even heard of an apostle before. A pastor, yes, a prophet every now and then, an evangelist maybe, but an apostle never before. Nowadays, fast forward several years into the future, about 8, it's hard to believe I'd never heard of an apostle. Everyone today seems to think they are called to be something, called to leadership, have a great vision, have an incredible calling on their lives, but despite a lot of claims, very few of these people truly develop to the point of ever having the fruit of leadership in their lives. Everyone is writing a book that they never finish, they're traveling when they never go anywhere, and underlining the purpose of personally impacting lives to the point of power and control under the guise of accountability and submission. All this raises the question, what does it mean to be a leader in the church? Is it about titles, power, control, dominance, and submission? Or is it about leaders teaching people the correct way to submit to Christ while operating in ministry all the while? The state of the church today grieves me on many levels. I am truly disheartened when I see or hear leaders that seek to control their people. God created us all for service, not congregation members or followers for service and leaders to have a haughty, entitled attitude to be served. Yet everyone seems afraid to talk about the issue for fear of being accused of being negative or out of line. This attitude just lets it continue and continue and continue because God deals through leaders who are good and are solid, and if we never speak up, abusive leadership continues in its own evil cycle. Bad leadership confuses people. It makes people believe that God condones such conduct when he does not. It also gives people a thoroughly distorted view of God's will for their lives and for the purpose of leadership. If there was one thing Jesus was real good at, it was checking bad and abusive leaders. Jesus cut to the very core of whatever it was they were thinking, feeling, and plotting, and examined their behavior as critical and hypocritical. He specifically states that leaders who burden their people, whether in excessively demanding their time, placing unreasonable rules on their lives, invading their privacy, telling people they are called when they know they aren't called that way, or somehow demeaning the people, demand excessive attention. Ministry is all about them all the time, and they truly enjoy the concept of human acknowledgement and are bad leaders, plain and simple. Jesus is not telling us that we can't acknowledge ourselves as part of the fivefold ministry when we introduce ourselves, nor is he saying we can't pray publicly or be acknowledged by people. What he is saying is that being in ministry for those reasons, to demand of people or get attention, is a total contradiction of our ministry purpose. Leaders are here to serve. We don't have to be abused or mistreated by the people who are sent to follow our work, but our job is to display true servanthood so they may find their own purpose and grace in Christ and continue the blessing and benefit of God's kingdom. It's a pay-it-forward kind of situation. Being a leader isn't about demanding submission out of people or ruining their lives. It is about bringing them to a place where they discover God's love and in turn become His servants as well, however He calls them to serve. Beware leaders who demand an unquestioning silence or submission out of you. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. Beware leaders that do not respect boundaries of the home life and of personal privacy. Beware leaders who make judgments and assessments based on little or no information. Beware leaders that ask you to do inappropriate tasks for them, such as fanning them during service, dressing them, cleaning for them, running their personal errands, or doing their laundry. Beware a leader who doesn't respect the gifts of God on your life, or who tells you whatever those gifts may be at every turn. Beware leaders who are all about themselves but never about God. Some people just chase a title. Other people genuinely embrace ministry and seek their identification with that ministry as a life-changing opportunity to serve God and humanity. It is error for us to assume every leader is like this and disregard all. But at the same time, we need to be aware that God takes false leadership very, very seriously. Thank you for watching this program today. Do you have a question or comment that you would like to ask? Send it to me at questions@powerfortoday.org, and be sure to visit me on the web at www.powerfortoday.org. This is Apostle Dr. Leanne sending off and saying, remember that through Jesus Christ there is power for today.